Cold soup? Blah. That's what I used to think before I tried gazpacho. Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to the Simply Healthy Kitchen. We're going to be making just that right here today. So join me. Okay, before we start putting together our gazpacho, I'm going to toast up some bread. This is some nice crusty French bread with a little olive oil and garlic. That's going to go really super well with our gazpacho when we get finished. So I'm going to slice that up, and I've got the oven on 400 degrees, and I'm going to brush a little olive oil, rub a little garlic on there. It's going to toast up real nice and crusty in the oven, and we'll be good to go. This is where your muscles come in. And I'm gonna rub the garlic, just the clove, onto the bread and then brush it with some oil. And it will be delicious when it's all toasted up. Yeah, sometimes these garlic cloves are just a little bit tricky. All right, I'm gonna slice this garlic kind of long ways because it's a really skinny one. So I sliced it this way so I can get that oil and rub it on the bread. So I'm gonna rub this on the bread, and then we're gonna brush it with a little oil. Both sides. So we want both sides to be nice and tasty and crusty. And that's it. I'm going to put this on a parchment-lined baking pan, put it in the oven 400 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes till it's golden. We're good to go. Okay, so our oven is heated up to 400 degrees. We're just gonna pop these in and let them toast up. So the first thing we're gonna wanna cut up to put in our gazpacho is a red onion. I've just cut the top off, left the bottom on, and just peel off the layers that don't look so good, and then just slice it up. I always leave the bottom root end on. They say to leave it on. They say that it will let you not let you cry so much, but I'm not sure. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and slice into the onion sideways, and again right up about here, and then we're going to just make little cuts through the onion long ways. And then we're just gonna go ahead and start chopping it up, and it ends up into nice little dice. You wanna hold your onion really tight. You want your fingers to be out of the way of your knife. When it gets to the point where it feels like the onion's not stable, turn it over to the side, and we're gonna kind of do the same thing here. Slice down, and then just go ahead and chop it up. And then we're left with this, and you can, hey, our bread might be done. All right, we have half a red onion. It's going into the bowl. Okay, then we're gonna slice up some red and orange peppers. If you have a whole red pepper, great. A whole orange pepper, that's great. We're gonna use about half of a large one. So if you have a really big one like this one, use half of it. That's a monster pepper. We're going to use some green pepper and some red and orange pepper today. So I'm going to go ahead and just slice these up. These are sweet. You can leave the seeds in if you like. I kind of do like the seeds in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave them in. And we're going to slice them. We want slices that we can actually bite and chew in this soup. I like it chunky. If you don't want it as chunky, then go ahead and slice it up a little more than that. Okay, so we've got our little peppers all cut up. That's about 3/4 of a cup. Half of a orange or red pepper. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut half of this humongous green pepper up. I kind of like to slice around halfway and then pull, and look at it, kind of de-seeds itself. Isn't that cool? It just works for me. things that you learn as you cook. I don't know. I just figured out how that worked, and that's the way I do my peppers now. So, all right, these are pretty chunky, as you can see. If you like yours less chunky, then cut them into smaller bite size or smaller dice. But it's kind of how I like it. That is one thing I love about cooking. Once you make the recipe once, you can adjust it to your preference, your taste, whatever your family likes. Speaking of which, I'm going to add a little jalapeno. And I like a little heat in my gazpacho, so that's why I'm going to add a little jalapeno. Now this one, I have no idea. You know when you buy the jalapenos in the store, you can't tell if they're hot or not. So I do a little taste test on the piece that I cut. Touch it to my tongue. I can tell there's a little heat in the membrane part, so I know that if I leave the seeds in the membrane in, then I'm gonna get a little heat. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave these seeds in the membrane, and I'm not going to take them out because that's where my heat's gonna be. And I want a little of that. Have you gotten a jalapeno at the store and it was just completely like a green pepper? That's disappointing. So this is one way to tell. And you know what? If you get a jalapeno and it's a green pepper flavor and it doesn't have any heat to it, you can add some red pepper flakes and you'll get the heat and the flavor from the jalapeno as well. So add that to our bowl. Next, we're going to move on to our cucumber. We're going to go ahead and take the skin off the cucumber. Now, I grow cucumbers in my garden. This is not from my garden. It happens to be not that time of year. But if I did, I would leave the skin on because I like the skin of the cucumbers that I grow. But this is a cucumber from the store. It had wax on the outside, so I cut most of it off, but look how pretty it is. It's kind of stripy. So I kind of like to leave it like that. See, I think cooking is as much about the way it looks and aesthetics as it is the way it tastes. It makes me happy to see things like this, patterns in the cucumber while I'm cooking. Now the cucumber I'm going to cut into kind of moons, and again, if you'd like yours to be smaller, cut it into fourths long ways and slice it that way. I'll just show you what that'll look like. So you'll have some pieces like this, okay? I guess we'll go ahead and do it that way now. The cucumber adds a real freshness to the dish, and on a hot day, wow, the soup is absolutely refreshing and delicious. It just speaks of the garden, really. So we've got one cucumber diced. We're going to put that in the bowl. Look at all these colors. Isn't that gorgeous? Again, it's with your eyes. Okay, so normally in tomato season, I would use about 3 nice ripe red tomatoes, but it's not tomato season. And I had these little cherry tomatoes that were just about at the end of their viable life, so to speak, in my kitchen. So I thought, you know, I really need to use them up, so why not make gazpacho? I also had a tomatillo left over from something else. I'm just gonna throw that in there and it's gonna be delicious. You don't have to have the tomatillo in the soup to make it delicious, but hey, it adds that little citrusy kick that I really like, and so we're gonna go ahead and add it. Again, flexibility and the ability to fine-tune this to your own taste and whatever you have in your kitchen that might be going bad or you need to use up in your vegetable drawer or on your counter. I don't know about you, but I buy lots of fruits and vegetables, and sometimes it's a challenge to eat them all. I have to kind of constantly be aware of what is going on the edge of its ripeness, and then figure out what I'm going to make with it. So that's what I'm doing today with you. I will put the link to the regular recipe, but you'll see all these little variations that I've made here. I'm going to go ahead and add the tomato, and now I'm going to add the tomatillo. It comes with its own little paper husk, and it's a really cute little fruit. So we'll take the husk off. We've already rinsed this off, so we're going to go ahead and slice it up. It kind of looks like a tomato or an apple almost. Cut the top off a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know if it's actually necessary, but I do. We're going to kind of just make this smaller dice than our other vegetables, because I really want this to be more like the onion, just in little bites, little bursts, as you eat your soup. I really like it chunky. Some people blend their gazpacho up so it's creamy. I don't do that. Feel free to do it if you want. You can use a regular blender or a hand blender and it will work just fine. I have done it that way. I prefer it chunky. It's just my preference. The smell is absolutely delicious and fresh in this kitchen right now. I can smell the onions, I can smell the peppers, and I can smell this tomatillo. All right, we've got all our veg in now, and we're gonna move to our other ingredients. Okay, so we have all of our veggies in our bowl now. Now it's time to add our vegetable juice. And I've chosen this juice called Very Veggie. I really like it. I'm not paid to plug them at all, but it is the juice that I really enjoy. This is a quart of tomato juice. You can use whatever tomato juice you like. I just happen to like the Very Veggie, and I also choose the kind that has the low sodium, because I want to be able to adjust the salt as I see fit, not as the company did. And oftentimes those tomato juices are really salty. So we've got our juice in there. Now we're gonna add a little bit of apple cider vinegar. 3 tablespoons to 6 tablespoons. I go ahead and start with about 3, and then I taste it and adjust it. We're gonna add just like a half a teaspoon, a really small amount of agave, just a little tiny bit of sweetness. It helps with the tomato, make it not quite as acidic. And then if you want olive oil, you can drizzle 3 to 6 tablespoons of olive oil into your gazpacho. I personally don't like it, so I don't put it in mine. You can leave it out if you don't like it and let your guest add it at the last minute. That works perfectly well. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of fresh ground pepper. This is about a half of a teaspoon. And I'm going to mix this up and taste it before I add that salt. So let me just mix it up a little bit with a spoon and get a little taste of how this is all coming together, and figure out if I need a little extra salt, a little more vinegar, or who knows what else. Sometimes if I don't have cucumbers, but I have zucchini, I'll use zucchini. We're going to add some basil here at the end and some avocado for some garnish, but let me just taste it right now. Definitely needs the salt, and actually it needs a little more vinegar. I'm adding probably about a third, no, probably 2/3 of a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going ahead and adding the rest of that vinegar. So that was 6 tablespoons of vinegar. If you like a really vinegary taste, go for it. Add a little more. This happens to be apple cider vinegar. I think I said that. I have used seasoned rice vinegar, which is really good and tasty in this. All right, let me taste. Want to give one more taste? Better. Still needs actually a little bit more salt, believe it or not. Tomatoes can take a lot of salt. Okay, I think we're probably good there. Get another spoon. This is a 3-spoon tasting day. I'm gonna go ahead and chop up a few fresh basil leaves just to put into the soup, and then we'll chop up a little bit more for garnish. We'll kind of roll them up. These were really big basil leaves. I got these at my local health food store, and there's somebody locally that grows these hydroponically, which is really nice because then you can get fresh basil all year round. What a treat. All right, I think we've got our basil. Look how beautiful that is. It's really fresh. If you want a taste of summer in the middle of winter, this is the way to do it. Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and plate this up, get some avocado on there, some more basil, and we're good to go. That is all there is to this quick, simple, healthy, and tasty gazpacho. So I'm ready to plate it up. Because my producer Doug has been smelling this for the last 10 minutes. Yeah, it's only took 10 minutes to make this. But he can hardly wait. And he does like the oil on his. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil on there just for him. Drizzle a little right around. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and add a few slices of avocado. Go ahead and just slice these right in the skin. They come out really beautifully. You just take a spoon, run around the edge of your avocado, and look at that. Perfect slices. Almost. There we go. And to finish, a few little sprigs of basil. Chopped right on the top. And this is ready to go. Oh, one last thing. Remember the bread? It's ready to add. Look at that. I'll just add a slice right here. You ready to try it, Doug? He is. Here you go. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, Lisa, this is fantastic. We need to take a break now.
Cold soup? It's amazing. You should try it. We just made gazpacho and Doug thought it was incredible. I think you will too. Hey, if you got some value out of the time we spent together today, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. Or better yet, hit the notification bell and you'll be notified every time I come up with something simple, healthy, and tasty for you right here in the Simply Healthy Kitchen. I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, I'm going to have some cold gazpacho soup. Wow. Okay, we're done.